first of all, Jimmy Kimmel, I just have to say, well done. Now I'm seeing Benny Johnson, WDW Pro, Tim Cast, and a lot of people upset that Jimmy Kimmel did what he did. At this point, I think if he even apologized, you wouldn't take it because you don't like his existence. Sincerely, what has happened with Jimmy Kimmel has just go to show that you want your cake and eat it too. But here's the gag. When you want all your cake, you have to swallow all your cake. When you want all your cake, you gotta swallow all your cake. When you want all your cake, you have to swallow all your cake. Jimmy Kimmel is a comedian. Comedians, they have the carte blanche, they have the privilege, they have the right to take an inch and make it a mile. They got the room to talk a little bit more than the rest of us. And they're supposed to find the inch of what's not being talked about, make it a mile with humor. That's what they are supposed to do. Now, I'll just say this to WDW Pro, Tim Cass, Benny Johnson, and everybody else. If y'all don't like them, why talk about them? I mean, y'all are just as bad as the Melody Cherie crowd. For everybody to say they don't like Melody Cherie, they sure do talk about her on their channels. Maybe because they have no content. Maybe because they thought they had a bag of Love and Marriage Huntsville coming on every damn Saturday because it was OWN's #1 show. But this happened instead.
Love and Marriage Huntsville will return with more new episodes. The drama is just getting started. Love and Marriage Huntsville returns with new episodes November 15th, only on OWN.
For those content creators that all they cover is just that show, you got to wait until November 15th to be a content creator. Now, how much sense does that make? It's the same thing with the people that don't like Jimmy Kimmel. So you waited for a result to happen from a person you can't stand in order to have content? How much sense does that make? You waited for a person you don't like to have a resolution for you to have content. One more time for the one more time. You waited for a resolution of a person you don't like to have content on your channel. Jimmy Kimmel is giving Tim Cass, WDW Pro, Benny Johnson, and everybody that don't like Jimmy Kimmel a YouTube check. But yet you don't like him, though. I'm just a little confused by that. So I watched it last night, and the standing ovation was very well warranted. And, Jimmy Kimmel talked about, that people called him from his past, this, that, and the third. He also apologized to his wife's family because there are some markets that he is not in, right? Because of next star Sinclair. And this is coming from the same Sinclair that was going to air a Charlie Kirk special in place of Jimmy Kimmel Live, but they moved it to YouTube. So I guess the work that y'all did on that special wasn't as good as y'all thought it was, because if it was good, you would have aired it. And the next star, who owns the CW, which the CW really has no content, they're a wasteland of content, but yet they're a broadcast network. They got the me audacity, the me hypocrisy, the me imagination not to air Kimmel's show. And it's just like, you do realize that without you airing those shows, then your affiliates have no content. And if your affiliates have no content, then there's no ad revenue. And you're paying a redistribution fee to distribute ABC content. How smart are you, Nexstar? How smart are you, Sinclair? Said no one ever. Okay. In addition to that, Jimmy Kimmel also talked about the fact that he was not trying to make fun of the experience that happened to Charlie Kirk. He did not do that. Really, the energy was at the president, who, after being asked about how his best friend passed away, unnecessarily, I might add, that he went to talk about the construction of a ballroom in the White House. Just a pro tip to Benny Johnson, Tim Cass, WDW Pro, and Megyn Kelly, and all the female conservative commentators and everybody that's conservative. There's nothing wrong with being conservative, right? Nothing wrong with it. But to silence free speech, to hate black and minorities, to take away resources for people trying to rise up, when some conservatives probably have been on Section 8 housing before. But some conservatives have probably been on food stamps before. But some conservatives have probably used Head Start. Because whether you're a Democrat or conservative, everybody has to make $1.15 somehow. Let's keep that straight. Okay? So, in talking about all that, Jimmy also said, it's funny that the president wanted people to cancel me, but yet everybody tuned into me. And that was not very bigly. And I have ratings tonight. As of right now, the clip is at 9.7 million views. I think it's about crossed 10 million views this morning. In addition to that, he thanked Republicans and people on the other side of the aisle that may not stand him in his show, but are about free speech. Benny Johnson said that he did not defend any Republican. Well, Benny Johnson, I would dare you to define any time you have given a fuck about anybody that doesn't look like you. Give me 10 times. Probably won't get to even one. No one has to defend it. Dr. Phil is deranged and decrepit and destroyed as he is. He has said some good things. One of the things he said was, we may not love everything that person does, but we can still love them. That's what Jimmy Kimmel did. He gave credit where credit is due. And honestly, to tell you the truth, at this point, that monologue is more welcomed than the president of the United States being in the White House. His approval ratings are shit. The Congressional Budget Office director, the former one at that, said that 47's economy is dead on arrival. When you have Fox News flailing to try to defend the president, we really fucked up. Y'all saw with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, with the past he has, said what he said about free speech. So it is quite interesting that everybody on the other side went after the left, but when conservatives spoke out against them in their own party, they didn't say shit. Interesting. And, Jimmy Kimmel also talked about, autism and the president and the announcement that he made, right? And also, too, there was a very funny joke that when he was speaking to the United Nations, which he said to all these nations, your countries are going to hell. Charming. In addition to that, he was at the escalator and stopped, right? And Jimmy Kimmel said something very powerful. He said, why didn't the escalator stop 10 years ago? And Guillermo, shout out to Guillermo. Guillermo said, we need more people like Jimmy Kimmel, and he is a great man. And Guillermo, just know you're welcome to the cookout anytime, brother. I am proud of the fact that these jobs were saved. And Jimmy Kimmel also said something very important too. He said, we have an American president that wants to go after Americans and their jobs. about that for a second. An American president that's about America first and MAGA going after American jobs. Does that seem right to you? It certainly doesn't seem right to me. And you know, Vanessa 47 is now engaged to Tiger Woods. I wonder how family discussions are going to be. I just wonder, right? And, you know, House Hinkar also was trying to still defend his position. The FCC has no oversight on content, which is why it will never happen to YouTube. But it could happen to YouTube. Speaking of that, Jimmy Kimmel also talked about the fact of, could the government dictate what podcasts you listen to and download? He also talked about family and how he said that there are family members on the other side that he disagrees with, but he still loves them. And he also praised Erica Kirk, the widow, and that she forgave her husband's alleged killer. And sincerely, I think Jimmy did everything he could and then some. I think he was damned if he do, damned if he doesn't. And he was not happy when he got pulled off the air. He did not agree with that decision, and they had discussions. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, when when he came out and said, as I was saying before I was interrupted, shout out to Jack Parr. That was a joke that Jack Parr did when he returned to the Tonight Show in 1960. And ABC, Disney did ask him to do something. He read a note of how to resubscribe to Hulu and Disney, which is quite funny because I thought that in the rap article that I read that it wasn't Disney Plus unsubscriptions that influenced Kimmel coming back. So why would y'all have him read a note if that wasn't a factor in bringing him back? The words of that teacher from The Incredibles. Coincidence? I think not. And then, of course, Rob De Niro, being the FCC chairman, was quite great as well. So like I said, I think Jimmy Kimmel did what he could. And guess what? Eventually, Nexstar and Sinclair are going to have to put him back on the air because there's a thing as, like I said, redistribution fees, right? And I don't think Sinclair and Nexstar want to go broke. The CW's not making any money. Last time we were here together, I decided to do some numbers on Jimmy Kimmel Live and the National Desk, which is Sinclair's YouTube channel. And the last time that we did this, and the last time that we did this here, I'm just going to show it since, you know, the right thinks that Jimmy Kimmel is a no calories hack and this, that, and third, Let me just show you this real quick. And then we're going to get to our destinations here. Jimmy Kimmel Live's YouTube channel, 20,800,000 subscribers. The National Desk, 593,000 subscribers. Total views, 13,052,168,071 total views. The National Desk total views is 517,762,174 total views. Grand total, a difference of 20,207,000 subscribers, and a difference of 12,534,405,897 total views. Let me say that difference again. 12,534,405,897 total views. Basically, Jimmy Kimmel Live is me and the rest of America. And the National Desk is 47. And bloodthirsty toxicity. Now, with that being said, moving forward to all the conservatives, if you don't like somebody, right, don't talk about them for content. Because, in the words of Anonymous T,
because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content.
One more time, Anonymous T.
Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content.
There it is. Let's get to again doing what we do, everybody. We do have a lot to discuss here. I want to just give the first 20-something minutes to just my opinion. Because you saw the thumbnail, you know my voice is dim, and you know why you're here. But also, too, I could read the articles like I'm about to do now, but it's important for you to hear exactly from me. Wow. So,